الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. يا ربي لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ثم أما بعد. Today's lecture or khutbah will be just a reflection on a beautiful ayah at the end of Surah Taha, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَمُدَّنَّ عَيْنَيْكَ إِلَى مَا مَتَّعْنَا بِهِ أَزْوَاجًا مِّنْهُمْ زَهْرَةَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا لِنَفْتِنَهُمْ فِيهِ وَرِزْقُ رَبِّكَ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا لَا نَسْأَلُكَ رِزْقًا نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكَ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلتَّقْوَى. In fact, the entire surah, Surah Taha, is there are no words actually to express its beauty from the beginning to the end. طه ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى إلا تذكرة لمن يخشى تنزيلا ممن خلق الأرض والسماوات العلى الرحمن على العرش استوى. Beautiful, just beautiful. But this particular ayat at the end of the surah, لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم زهرة الحياة الدنيا لنفتنهم فيه. And do not extend your eyes toward that by which we have given enjoyment to some categories of them. It is being but the splendor of worldly life by which we test them. And the provision of your Lord is better and more enduring. People used to think that, or philosophers in particular, used to think that we are swinging between pain and pleasure. Pain here does not mean necessarily physical pain, but the pain of needing something, longing to something, wanting to achieve something, and then achieving it and getting pleasure. But in fact, others, including Buddha himself, said that the fact is that people are swinging between pain and boredom. Pleasure is a very tiny and small period in between. We want something, we work hard to achieve something, we need something very badly, and then we get it and we enjoy it for a short period of time, and then we get bored and we start looking for something else. So we are always between pain and boredom. And this is what Schopenhauer actually took these thoughts to the West. And he came up with his own philosophy when he thought that happiness is to fulfill our desires, whatever these desires are. And the opposite of happiness is suffering. And suffering comes as a result of needing something. Because we need something, and then we get it, get bored, and then we need something else. So this need actually creates suffering. And there's an entire philosophy of having less, or less is more, as they call it. So suffering actually is what stands between our need, our will to need something and achieving something. However, he also thinks of happiness it's possible, but it's also tiny and small period of time. Pleasure by nature is small, enjoyable, but it's small. And then he said it is achievable, however, it is the happiness of illusion, he called. It's an illusion, because it's so tiny and small, people get bored and then they start looking for something else. So it's will or need, or then suffering, temporary pleasure, then boredom, and another need, another cycle of need and boredom. Al-alamu wal-malal, as they call it. And he actually pointed out this happiness is happiness of illusion, or the happiness in between is achievable, but for a short period of time, that he called it illusion. And this is exactly what the Quran refers to when he says, and it's amazing how Quran uses this word, which I don't know it is well translated here. لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم زهرة الحياة الدنيا. The word zahra, you know what the meaning of zahra? Flower, right? Zahra, and the plural is Zuhur, right? And the Zahra, we know the Zahra, Zuhur, sometime come in our yard. They come for days and for perhaps weeks, and then what happened to them after that? They just go away, right? They lose its beauty gradually, and then they die and they go. So the life of this Zahra is so tiny and so small, so don't focus on this. This is not our goal. لا تمدن عن عينيك. We know lowering our gaze, that's what part of Islamic tradition, to lower our gaze from looking to other gender with lust, right? So here the Quran is saying that لا تمدن, don't extend your eyes to what they have. Properties, wealth and children and fame and power, and so don't even look too much about it. تمدن عينيك. Don't prolong your. And the other ayat in Surah Al-Tawbah, وَلَا تُعْجِبْكَ أَمْوَالُهُم وَلَا أَوْلَادُهُم. Don't admire their wealth and their children. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُم بِهَا. Because some of these munafiqeen and kuffar, they have plenty of wealth and influence and properties. Allah said to the Prophet, لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منه. زهرة الحياة. This is a Zahra of الحياة الدنيا. And the Zahra, by nature, the age or the life of Zahra is very short normally. It's beautiful, smells good, looks good, but it does not live long. And what does this tell us? It tells us that the real happiness and real pleasure, it goes way beyond our physical being. The real happiness and comfort and peace and tranquility is to be found by the soul, by the spirit, not by the body. And this is exactly what Imam al-Ghazali said. The real happiness is in taqwa Allah. That's it. The real happiness is not the happiness of the body, it's the happiness of the spirit. And no one can find happiness away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Real happiness is in taqwa Allah. And taqwa Allah can be achieved by four things. Four important things. One is knowing yourself. Number two, knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number three, knowing this life as it is. And number four, knowing the hereafter as it is. If you know these four things, then you have taqwa of Allah, and then you'll have real happiness. You will never be able to find happiness out of these four things that can be achieved only, by the way, by the aql, he said. The tool to know all these things is the aql. A different story, the aql and qalb. But to use our mind to know ourselves, and to know Allah, and he has this very famous statement. He says, whoever knows himself knows his Lord. You cannot separate these two things. In order to know the Khaliq, you need to know the Makhluq. Who am I? Where I'm coming from? What are my weakness and strength? What do I need? How can I achieve happiness? What bothers me? What causes pain? Right? What makes me happy? What do I need? How to live my life? Right? The satanic part of me and the divine part of me and the animalistic part of me, we need to know ourselves. We need to know ourselves. And we are still trying to know who we are. And we will continue this journey of knowing who we are until we die. Every day we discover something new about ourselves. Right? And then knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as we can. And knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through reading and through also this very personal spiritual experience. That is why the Arifin say that sometimes we cannot express what we feel. And sometimes it's dangerous, it's not right. For the Arif, those who reach such high level of kashf, they call it kashf. Kashf means to unveil something. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them some kashf. They just remove the curtains. So they can see things that they cannot express. And sometimes, that's why sometimes some Sufis are misunderstood and people call them kafir because they say things that the language actually does not express the real experience. So it's better not to talk about it. Imam Ghazali mentioned this clearly in his Ihya. He said, this kushufat, I'm not going to talk about it because it's not right to talk about it. It's something else. So this may explain why when people dwell into this splendor of worldly life, they don't know themselves, they don't know their happiness, and that's why they always worry, they are always fear something, they are always unhappy and dissatisfied. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we know you see a woman walking, just lower your gaze, that's good for you, right? You don't want to build an image in your mind and then you act upon it. It's always good to, and the same thing applies to looking at people's wealth, health, fortune, children, power. Don't be concerned about this. And the next ayah right after it, and enjoin prayer upon your family and people, and be steadfast therein. وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاسْتَبِرْ. Don't look at this, just this is what we need to do. وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاسْتَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا. Be patient, be steadfast with just praying on time. We ask you not for provision. We provide for you. لا نسألك رزقا نحن نرزقك. Wallahi. It's simple what's coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا نسألك رزقا نحن نرزقك والعاقبة للتقوى, and the outcome is for those of righteousness. Believe me, no words can explain the beauty of these ayat. Just read it and try to exert some effort to learn the Arabic words, learn the vocabularies, and just try to just go with the flow of these beautiful ayat. لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم زهرة الحياة الدنيا لنفتنهم فيه. This is Zahra. This Zahra, we gave it to them in order to test them with it. Rasulullah ﷺ wants these wealthy, influential people to become Muslims, because when they become Muslims, then this will help Islam and help the message. Abasa wa Tawalla story, talking to leaders of Quraysh, and this blind Muslim guy come interrupting the meeting, asking some religious questions, and the Prophet ﷺ did not like this interruption, because he was hoping that these people, when they join, then Islam will flourish. Islam will benefit from their influence and connections and so on. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is not the case. It is Allah who takes care of His message, not these people. Your job is to convey the message and let them choose. لا تعجبك أموالهم ولا أولادهم. Don't admire their wealth and their influence and their children. إنما يريد الله ليعذبهم بها في الدنيا. Allah wants to punish them through these blessings in this dunya. وتزهق أنفسهم وهم كافرون, and they will die in the state of kufr والعياذ بالله. Twice this ayah was repeated in Surah At-Tawbah. Read Surah At-Tawbah, chapter number 9. ولا تعجبك أموالهم ولا أولادهم. And here says لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم زهرة الحياة الدنيا لنفتنهم فيه ورزق ربك خير وأبقى. Talk about rizq in this ayah and the next ayah. لا نسألك رزقا. We ask you not for provision. نحن نرزقك والعاقبة للتقوى. How beautiful this is. Wallahi, Al-Quran is full of light and guidance and treasure. We just need to open our heart to this beauty, just to try to understand who we are and how to value things. People have different value systems. But here Al-Quran directs us, just لا تمدن, don't keep looking. And people now are fascinated by all these newspapers and magazines and websites that talks about the wealthy people and how they live their life and how many cars they have and how big their homes are and the jets they use for traveling, and people are fascinated by this. تمدن عينيك, that's exactly تمدن عينيك. We have programs and series about how these people live their life. How do they do shopping? And people like to watch this. Although it's not going to benefit them in any way, right? The only outcome of this is that they feel bad for themselves. How these people live their life, His garage has 25 cars, all kind of cars you can imagine. And they ask one of them, which car do you prefer? He said, how many cars do you have? Said, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know. And how luxurious life they have and so on. Al-Quran says, لا تمدن, don't keep looking at this. That's not of your concern. Because this, as like the bad looking to the opposite sex, can actually affect you, your heart, in your mind and would create more curtains on your heart. So that same thing, when you keep looking at those who have more than you, then this might hurt you. Just look at those who have less than you, and then this will make you feel blessed and will be more thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So لا تمدن عينيك is the beautiful expression إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم زهرة الحياة الدنيا لنفتنهم فيه ورزق ربك خير وأبقى. The rizq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to you is better and more enduring. When the Prophet ﷺ opened Mecca, and then before that actually was the battle of Bani al-Mustaliq, so much wealth accumulated and plenty of animals, and there were like a place, a sha'b between two mountains, like a small valley full of animals, camels and cows and goats and things. And this big leader of a big tribe would say to the Prophet ﷺ, wow, how wealthy you have become, Muhammad, look at this. And the Prophet simply said, do you like that? He said, of course. Do you like all this to be yours? He said, oh, Muhammad, you're making fun of me. He said, no, I'm not making fun of it, it's yours. Go and take it. It's yours. Okay. Whatever between these two mountains belong to this person. And this man went and took this stuff and went to his people, his tribe, and said, okay, people, he's Rasulullah. This cannot be a king. Kings don't do that. Kings actually are never satisfied. They need more. Ashhadu annaka Rasulullah. Only a prophet can do this. And people were coming to the Prophet ﷺ when they saw him giving so much, and they were literally pushing him and then give me. And a branch of a tree actually took his clothes, ﷺ, and he said, people, listen, wallahi, if I have the number of the trees in all Arabia, camels and cows, I'll give it to you, and you will never find me stingy or a liar or dishonest. Just take it easy. Even his wives did not like that. Even the Ansar did not like that. He gave so much to those who are not even Muslims, and we are the Ansar, we supported the Prophet, and now we're getting nothing. And they were a little upset with the Prophet, and then he told them that you were misguided, and Allah guided you through me. You were enemies, and Allah made you brothers because of me, right? He said, right. So why don't you answer me? The Prophet said, what should we say, Ya Rasul? I said, you were being, people disbelieved in you, we did believe in you. People kicked you out and we welcomed you in. He said, are you upset with me because I gave this lu'a min ad-dunya to these people to bring them to Islam, and I entrusted your faith, your strong iman. I know you are strong believers. So I gave this lu'a min ad-dunya. And the word lu'a is the things that we don't use. You know, in your garage, you find plenty of things that you don't use anymore, right? Things that has no value. I just gave it to them to bring them to Islam. His wife did not like it. And he told them, you either stay with me like this, or I'll divorce you kindly and just live in peace. That was the implementation of this Quran. That's why he was the walking Quran, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. لا تمدن عينيك إلى ما متعنا به أزواجا منهم زهرة الحياة الدنيا لنفتنهم فيه ورزق ربك خير وأبقى. The rizq that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you is خير وأبقى. It's better. The knowledge you have, the iman you have, the faith you have is much better than this. وأبقى, and everlasting. Benefit you in this dunya and in al-akhirah. Imam al-Ghazali said that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave someone al-Quran and he thought that someone is given something more valuable than him, then he devalued what Allah has valued and valued what Allah has devalued. وَرِزْقُ رَبِّكَ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا لَا نَسْأَلُكَ رِزْقًا نَحْنُ نَرْزُقُكَ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلتَّقْوَى. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant taqwa and happiness in this life, in the life after. Sallallahu alayhi wa Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. عباد الله اتقوا الله وأطيعوه، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك رزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم أصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا، وأصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا، وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي إليها معادنا. اللهم اجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير، واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث، أصلح لنا شأننا كله ولا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين ولا إلى أحد من الناس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اشفنا واشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين، وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن لا